No dying till the review's over. Do you want to see 50 Shades of Grey but you hate sex? Fortunately, there's hope for you, and with Valentine's Day coming up, you might want to get on that. Not literally, that might be too sexy. Flip back around. Wait. No. The right way! Fuck it, we'll hold this way. What I have here, freshly dug out of the dumpster, is 2014's Old Fashioned, starring Rick Schwartzwelder, Elizabeth Roberts, and other people. This film was purposely released to coincide with the theatrical release of 50 Shades of Grey as the Christian alternative. The perfect film to test out my sickness-induced low, husky voice to talk about abstinence. I wonder if they'll show any ankles. We start with a quote from Zora Neale Hurston that says, "Love makes your soul crawl out from its hiding place." Something tells me this movie is going to make it crawl back in again. Clay, played by Rick Schwartzwelder, likes to stain wooden furniture while wearing a clean white shirt. That guy. He must be that guy. That guy that fills out crossword puzzles in pen and doesn't wrinkle the sheets when... Then again, we probably don't know about that part yet, do we? Amber, played by Elizabeth Roberts, is a free spirit. You can tell because she randomly screams out car windows in Ohio and annoys her cat.
What do you think, Mr. Joe? Home?
Make that her ventriloquist cat. Amber wanders into Clay's antique store, conveniently named Old Fashioned, to rent the furnished apartment above the shop. She, and the rest of us, find it a little strange that he won't follow her into the apartment. This is because he apparently decided that he should never be in a room alone with a woman.
I made a promise.
To the United States courts.
To never be alone with any woman that's not my wife.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, I'm not married. No, I don't date. I have a theory about that.
On why you don't date? I got a few of those myself. I think this movie is trying to make it sound like he's this godly man for wanting to be all respectful of women, but the truth is it comes across as kind of rapey. The idea that I'm going to put myself beyond reproach by not giving the hint or the temptation of something scandalous to happen is all well and good, but the fact is it's simply not practical in this day and age, especially if you put yourself in the retail or landlord businesses. What if a lone woman wanted to look around your store, or like what you're facing now, a single female wants to rent your apartment? Are you going to kick them out? Because now you got to deal with outcries of sexual discrimination. How about this? Be an honest, normal, respectful person whom people can trust, and you will most likely not find yourself in any embarrassing situations. Or if you're that paranoid, you could just strap a camera to your forehead, and then everywhere you go, you'll have photographic evidence of what you've done and not done. No? You'd rather be that rapey guy who dresses like he fell in from a time warp back in 1998? Okay.
Old-fashioned, huh?
Yeah.
It's a little on the nose.
No, if his shop was called Creepy Fuck with Little to No Personality, that would be a little on the nose. While Amber moves into the apartment, Mike Pence and his buddy David help Lucky Chucky pack a moving van as he heads for LA. He is moving to LA because, it turns out, he is a shock jock whose radio show just got picked up for national syndication. By the way, in this universe, this is what qualifies as national syndication material.
Women are stupid.
No words more profound or entertaining have graced the airways of this fine country. That is why we must move this man from Ohio to LA because... I can't even fathom how to finish this sentence.
You see, on those late and lonely nights when you're all alone, solo, abandoned, lost, clutching the corner of your pillow, you want one thing.
And that is a guy like me, so you get what you get, girlfriend.
This is what the writer of this script deemed as secular world cool. Who is the writer anyway? Rick Schwartzwelder. This is beginning to make sense now.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ain't thought that far ahead yet. Let's go, get the lead out. Come on, busy man.
Oh, yeah?
You like anything?
Yeah, you should really tie that stuff down.
He's the writer, and he wrote himself in as the most lackluster, boring person in the film. Did the director even try to make him show a personality at all? Who is the director anyway? Rick Schwartzwelder. Why did I ask?
So help me, man. I worry about you.
We all do. One credit I will give this film is that it is very pretty. Most Christian films seem to half-ass the cinematography, but this one's actually very pretty. Who was the director of photography? Oh look, not Rick Schwartzwelder. The creepiness gets worse when Amber calls Clay to fix the stove. Because he refuses to be alone in the apartment with her,
You're kidding.
he makes her stand outside while he goes inside to fix it.
No offense, but I think I could resist you.
Might not be able to resist punching you, but maybe that's it. Maybe he's in denial because nobody wants him, so he pretends that he needs to fend off all of the horny women by not being alone with them. Besides, they wouldn't be alone. Mr. Joe's there.
So you won't be alone with a woman?
That's the plan.
Anywhere?
Within reason.
You call this situation not within reason? This theory of Clay's the movie keeps alluding to like it's some pensive secret is that dating does not train people to be good husbands and wives, just good dates. It also helps you with your communication skills and how to interact with other human beings, dude, which might be why you're so bad at it. Another thing, dating's a relatively loose construct. There's only a few requirements to qualify something as a date. You can make dating something that trains you to be a good husband or wife if you want to. If you are using the other person to teach yourself how to be a good date, whatever the hell that even means, that's entirely on you, not the establishment of dating. So this theory of dating is bad because I can't figure out how to do it just shows your character and what a shitbag you are.
It's all icing, no cake.
Who wants cake with no icing? Besides, you think you're cake? Fruit cake, maybe.
I mean, like it or not, what we do when we're single is that's what we'll do when we're married.
Yeah, that's what people are hoping for. That might be a reason to date. To see if you like the single person. To see if you want to be a married person with them or not. Now, people do behave differently when they're in public versus when they are alone with someone. When you're married, you're going to be alone with that person a lot. If you only court someone and never spend any time alone with them, you're not going to know what they're like when you're alone with them until it's too late. If you meet someone who's going to abuse their spouse, you won't know until you are the spouse, and it's a hell of a lot messier to get out of that situation. We gotta move on. We're only 16 minutes into this thing.
Not having sex does not make you a good husband.
No, but learning to control myself might.
That's a huge red flag, sweetheart. If it takes sending you out of the apartment completely in order for him to control himself, that means he's not very good at it. They try playing it off as if he's being super respectful of women, but it really ends up being disrespectful in the end. Hear me out, proponents of courtship and abstinence. This guy is basically saying if he's alone with a woman and he wants to have sex, they're gonna have sex. As if he doesn't believe the woman will have any right or say-so or power to resist him in the matter. So not only does this translate to, I can't control myself, it also translates to, it makes no difference to me if you can or want to control yourself. Oh good, we made it to 17 minutes.
We don't have to go around using each other, hurting each other. It doesn't have to be that way.
You don't have to hurt each other or use each other merely by being in a room alone with each other.
She is.
Everything okay? I do okay?
Excellent job, young man.
I do good. This short scene is in the movie for the sole purpose of making Clay appear more human. The old man starts telling a childhood story, then says, "Oh, you don't want to hear that," and Clay insists that he continue. It's too late, movie. We know he's not human.
Being human is far more complex than I thought.
Shut up, John Lithgow. What's this? You're alone with a woman? What if she seduces you, the harlot?
This is the day the Lord has made.
I'll rejoice and be glad in it.
Do you even know what rejoice and glad mean? This is Aunt Zella, by the way, the wise old man on the mountain of the movie, and I think she's supposed to be the comic relief.
Finally, I thought the old bag would never kick off. I wonder where she keeps her valuables.
My God, you're making a joke and we're still falling asleep.
How are they?
They're good, I just can't get the package open. Meanwhile, Amber gets a job at a local florist and goes to a bar to celebrate with her new coworkers.
Clay Walsh?
Yeah?
He touched you long enough to sign your cast?
Has he tried to dazzle you with any of his theories yet?
All one of them? That worked? Then again, this is a town where every single person tunes in to listen to
Men like me! Ah! Ah! Ah!
Fact. Okay. Most people know more about someone after a job interview for delivering pizzas than they do after most dates. So,
fact? What kind of conversations do you get into with your pizza delivery guy?
I have heard your order, my love.
where do you get this stuff from?
His ass! Where else? Do you really think there's a statistician out there tracking knowledge of first dates and pizza delivery applicants?
People are different. Some people don't need to just.
Of course. Sure.
I do okay on my own.
He's talking about masturbation. Most churches don't like that either. This film is strangely progressive in some spots.
What do I know about her?
Have her deliver a pizza for you and you'll find out. Amber and Clay run into each other at the grocery store. Amber jokes that this is their first date. Then they run into David, his girlfriend Lisa, and their daughter. They invite Amber to their birthday party, at which David proposes to his live-in girlfriend of 8 years. Strangely enough, this is actually one of the better parts of the film.
I thought we didn't need a piece of paper to prove anything.
Well, we don't. It's not about proof, baby. I know you love me.
I do. Unfortunately.
I love you. And I'm not going anywhere, okay? Paper or no paper.
Two people in a Christian film living in sin? And Satan didn't snatch them out of that house and throw them down into the pit of hell? The times they are a-changin'.
I just love the chance to see my baby in a wedding dress.
But she's like 5.
You really want me to do this?
No, but you should have asked that before you started the film.
Details?
It was a birthday party. Lots of people were invited. He didn't even invite me himself.
My theory is he's gay.
Then everywhere beware. Amber is not to be swayed. In fact, she purposely breaks her garbage disposal so he has to fix it. And Amber asks him a lot of questions, and he doesn't ask her any. Typical. Clay tells Amber that he was in a frat in college and that senior year, everything changed because Jesus found him. Now he has an antique shop that his aunt gave him as a college graduation present to keep himself out of trouble, I guess.
I guess I just wasn't destined for greatness.
And this performance proves it.
Are you allergic to me or something?
Not you. You're all fixed.
That was fast. Are you sure?
I can shove the cat down there to make sure. Amber stares at him as if he has enchanted her beyond words. But why? I mean, I guess he's a decent person. He's not killing anyone or anything. He's just kind of a prick. So Amber starts destroying her apartment to keep him coming up to see her, and she gives him allergy medication. If a girl you make stand outside in the cold while you tell her why you are more righteous than she is ever offers you pills, might want to think about it first.
The stories, they're my favorite part of what I do. Folks rarely drop off dusty old lamps or family portraits without telling you a story. It's kind of like the why beneath the surface that gives those things meaning. No matter how faded or ordinary anything appears, everything has a story.
Then why don't you have any good ones? It turns out the glass jar of bills on her refrigerator is for gas money. She knows when it's full that she has enough to get away if she needs to, which you might need when you move into creepy guy's apartment. We also find out that Amber's ex-boyfriend broke her hand because he did not like her wearing nail polish.
He was nothing like you.
Hopefully nobody is. Finally, Amber takes apart her screen door, so now he has to stand outside. She should have thought of that one before.
How come you haven't asked me out yet?
Because I don't date. Have we not discussed this for an interminable length of time?
My rules, my way.
Ah yes, every good relationship starts with those conditions. 9 years of celibacy has apparently made you very selfish.
How long have you been engaged?
Oh, we're not. We just met.
Oh.
When the pastor thinks it's weird, it's weird. The pastor gives them books called Red, Yellow, Green, which is a series of questions for you to ask your partner. The more they match, the closer to green they are, and presumably you want as many green lights as possible. First date, mind you. I guess the pizza delivery application was rushing it. Amber handles this lunacy well enough, at least better than I would have.
What experience do you have raising children?
Hang on. In order for a woman to have experience raising a children, she would have to have a children. To have a children, you need to have the sex, which is probably a red light according to your precious little book. Yet if she has no experience raising children, that's probably also a red light. So why the hell is that catch-22 question in there? Upon hearing she has no experience raising children, he takes her to David's house so she can cut up a pair for their kid.
Smaller pieces.
No coaching.
It's his kid. He has the right to say how to feed her properly. Besides, I know you're all old-fashioned, but guess what? You have to raise this hypothetical child too. Where's your pear to cut up?
He thinks he can scare me off.
And for good reason, it should have worked by now.
What was Clay like back then? A lot more fun.
Really?
I know, it's hard to imagine, isn't it? Apparently, in college, Clay and their friend Lucky Chucky used to host a cable show called College Coeds Exposed, and they started getting offers from New York and Chicago to further it, but for some reason, Clay turned them all down and stopped making the show.
Aren't you gonna ask me any more questions?
Nothing good happens after 11.
Wait, did something good happen before that? Did I miss it? When does before 11 start, by the way? He tells her to decide what they do next time.
Next time?
You're assuming there will be a next time? After their date, Clay goes to a diner and starts writing something on the back of his placemat. Which axe would you like me to murder you with? They keep showing snippets of conversations between them that I think are supposed to be endearing, but they're just kind of awkward. Mainly because they show a girl with personality and energy butting heads with a lackluster lump of an ex-frat boy, and it's just frustrating.
So you and David are friends with Lucky Chucky?
But you were never like that.
How do you know? Why does that matter anyway, as long as he's not still like that, right? So apparently Clay is only capable of being either so disrespectful to women that he becomes famous for it, or so respectful of women that it's actually disrespectful again. Got it.
What do you think I watched on TV last night?
I have no idea.
Sleepless in Seattle. Now that's a good movie.
You're killing me.
Sleepless in where?
Who the hell has never heard of Seattle?
The boring guy with allergies in the movies always gets dumped, and it's not right, and it must be stopped.
So stop being boring.
Magnifying glass and Spanish CD. Check. 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 Check.
What are those other check marks? Do nothing? Say nothing?
Check. Check.
Do you find me completely and utterly boring beyond all words?
Check.
How about intolerable?
Check. How is it possible that you're not already married?
Is that sarcastic? On one of these super respectful yet thrilling dates, Clay brings Amber and Aunt Zella over for dinner. We find out that Clay's last girlfriend, Kelly, the one he cheated on, gave him a Bible shortly before they broke up.
I mean, sometimes I wish I never opened it at all.
Why?
Because when I read it for myself, I couldn't make fun of it anymore.
Most people don't make fun of it because reading it speaks for itself. Secondly, that would be the only way to make fun of something if you think about it.
You hear voices?
No, I don't. It's not like real voices.
It's all coming together now.
Good Lord, you two, both of you, take me home already. This is getting painful.
Yes, take me with you, Aunt Zella. Ooh, I like that balloon.
When he held my hand in that church, it felt like home.
Home was rather dull, wasn't it? Amber's coworker gives her a copy of one of Clay and Lucky Chucky's College Coeds Exposed DVDs.
The man who made this doesn't exist.
At David's bachelor party, everyone seems shocked that Lucky Chucky hired a stripper.
David, don't do this. Open that door.
You kidding me?
Chucky kicks Clay out, but that basically kills the mood and they all leave for dinner instead.
You owe me $200. You're an inspiration to us all, and we bow before thee.
When did treating women with respect become the joke?
So treating women with respect is interrupting them at work then.
You have any idea how much you cost her in tips tonight?
You think you're better than me?
Yeah, he does. We get into a weird moment where Clay goes to the bottom steps of Amber's apartment, looks up, then walks away. Were we supposed to figure he was tempted to go up for sex and changed his mind? Was he supposed to be just looking for someone to talk to, but nothing good happens after 11, so he couldn't, or what? The Mulholland Drive-esque music during the scene makes it all the more confusing. The next day, Amber has him drive to the middle of nowhere and they dance to the car radio. Romantic, sure, until...
This is almost a normal date.
A normal date? You mean where two strangers hop into bed and then try to figure out later whether or not they have anything in common? Is that what you mean by normal?
I think we figured out where you had issues with dating.
Buy me flowers. Make me a card. Flatter me. Sweep me off my feet. Tell me I'm the most attractive woman you've ever met, even if you don't mean it. I don't care.
Why do you?
Exactly. A normal date.
What? No, this was totally written by a man.
I need to know that you want me. I need to know that. It's important to me.
Well, she does need to know if she's wasting her time or not. After the disaster of a date, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be broken up or just fighting or what, but whatever is going on, Amber begins watching the College Co-eds Exposed DVD and starts crying. Even though we already established...
The man who made this doesn't exist.
This is apparently a big deal all of a sudden.
Do you love this girl? If you do, life's too short. And if you don't, life's too short. That's all I got for you.
You know, that's actually the most profound thing anyone in this film has said yet, and I have a feeling that will be it from this point on as well. Trish takes Amber out to the bar and, to cheer her up, brings over a man. It is, of course, Lucky Chucky, but she doesn't know that. Meanwhile, Clay is randomly racing through town looking for Amber. When he finds Trish at the bar, she tells him that Amber left.
Do you know where she went?
No! But I saw who she left with.
And they both look so happy to be doing the leaving. I don't think Rick has ever done the one-night stand thing, so he clearly doesn't know how people act. This doesn't look like a one-night stand so much as a pimp dragging a hooker into a hotel room. While Amber embodies the metaphor of standing at the threshold deciding if she should go in or not, Clay's ex Kelly shows up at his door and he actually lets her in. It's shot like they're actually about to get at it, but he's actually apologizing to her, it turns out.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
The next day, Amber sees Kelly leaving Clay's house and assumes the worst. Honestly, that would be a natural assumption. It makes a hell of a lot more sense than the truth, which is that Clay slept in his truck all night. It's probably for the best because it prevented Amber from going to the wedding where she would have seen Lucky Chucky, and that would have potentially made the film even longer, and we don't need that. However, it does mean she goes home and starts reading her Bible. As you do. The gas money jar is full though, so she could leave Ohio. Will she? Or will she go to Clay's door to beg him back?
I don't want normal.
Well, no, of course you don't want that.
I want you.
Well, no, you really shouldn't want that. She tells Clay that she spent the honeymoon night of her 2-month marriage crying herself to sleep.
Trying to figure out why my brand new husband was more interested in watching on the hotel TV than touching me. And that's not your fault.
So you're saying you have a history of physically and emotionally abusive relationships that you are apparently desperate to dive back into. Clay mentions that, yes, Kelly spent the night, but he slept in his truck. He tells her that Trish told him she hooked up with some guy.
What'd you do?
Ouch.
That's not an ouch question. That's actually perfectly valid in this situation.
God forbid you made a mistake.
In asking that question, no, he has the perfect right to ask when someone tells him such things.
What do you think I did?
He doesn't know. That's why he's asking. Dear God, am I siding with Clay? Amber tells him that she stood in the doorway staring at her feet until she finally left.
I'd like to wring your neck.
Go, Auntie, go!
You are loved.
By whom exactly?
You could remain hidden in that house of yours for 100 years, never see another face. What a shame that would be.
Would it though? Would it really? Yes, Amber left her empty jar that once contained her gas money on Clay's porch, along with a note telling him she drove home. I'm kidding, of course. She's telling him that she is now home. She takes all of the gas money and enrolls for her last needed class for her bachelor's degree. Hang on, exactly how much gas money did she have in that jar? This movie thinks that college is either really cheap or gas prices are really expensive. Well, yeah. Later, the timeline is a little unclear because the leaves are still turning colors, so it's apparently not been too terribly long, but Clay's friend picks her up in a fancy, of course old-fashioned car he restored and takes her around to different places in town to get her nails done, her hair done, which, by the way, looked better before when it was curly, but that's just me, and buys her a dress. Her coworker gives her a bouquet of irises, and their last stop is the grocery store, where there's sand everywhere, and candles. The store was okay with this? Really? Okay. First of all, he should have done something with his hair if he was going to wear that hat. I take that back. He should have done something with his hair all along, but especially if he was going to wear that hat. Secondly, he proposes in the baby food aisle. What kind of 1950s nuclear family crap is this?
Little on the nose.
Very romantic.
Funny how one girl could call that romantic and another could call it kind of misogynistic. He kisses her on the cheek, scandal, and they are apparently living happily ever after the end. Oh, it turns out Rick Schwartzwelder also wrote a song in the film. Which one?
Every color and every size, some are silly and some are wise.
How very artistic of him. On Valentine's Day weekend of 2015, Old Fashioned broke box office records for a faith-based film, even though it appeared on less than 300 screens across the country. When it came out on DVD, it apparently rose to the #1 spot in Amazon's romance DVD category. So why is this film in the dumpster? Two good places to start your search for that answer would be in the film itself and in the reviews. Critics generally hated the film, the kindest one being the RogerEbert.com review, which sounds more like it's trying to not offend Christians than it is trying to give an honest review. The average Joe reviews either loved it or hated it. Of the people that loved it, most talk about being proponents of courtship and chaste relationships rather than actually praising the film itself. Throughout the film, there are very few, if any, actual arguments as to why Clay's theory and method are actually worth adopting for yourself. So basically, this is a preaching to the choir type of film. It's only to appeal to those who already agree with these practices. As far as the technical pieces of the film itself, it actually has quite a few good points in it and a couple of bad points. The cinematography is actually pretty impressive for a film with a $600,000 budget. The actors, at least most of them, are actually not too bad. Elizabeth Roberts is clearly the most outstanding of the bunch, but that could also be because she is most of the time next to the worst of the bunch, which is Rick Schwartzwelder. Because of the huge contrast of likability between the two leads, it's actually really hard to find the real chemistry between them. The idea of Amber falling for Clay's mopey, Byronic hero, however ludicrous his theories and ideas are, could be plausible if Clay had an ounce of personality and charisma, and he doesn't. Instead, it's painful to see Amber relentlessly chasing this guy who basically takes her for granted and insults her and borderline abuses her throughout the film when there is no obvious redeeming qualities that make him worth her time. If you are a Christian who believes in courtship, even though there are best-selling authors of books about the practice who have later apologized profusely because their teachings have had a lot of negative impacts on the lives they affected, Or if you are a proponent of chastity and no touching till the minister says you can, then via con Dios, this movie will bowl you over. The rest of you just might get mad. Unless you need it to complete your day of having played an old-fashioned 3-point and betting on old-fashioned. You can then mix yourself an old-fashioned and then watch old-fashioned while receiving an old-fashioned. Be an interesting moment of irony, wouldn't it?
You know, I don't know if you know this, but
Yeah, that's enough.
the percentage of
No.
men... Would you just...
No.